Hiya, Caddy here. Welcome to Caddy's Corner again. Today we're going to talk about lifeguarding. So growing up from fifth grade on, I both worked at and hung out at a pool in my hometown, Colonial Heights Swim and Yacht Club, SYC for short. And no, there were never any yachts. I started off in the concession stand there. That was my first job. I got to be a fry cook and a master snow cone maker. And then I wanted to be a lifeguard. So I took the class when I was 15. I couldn't work as a lifeguard yet, but because my birthday was in October, I'd be able to work the next year. So I took the class with Jan Pingle right there at our plus-shaped pool in Colonial Heights. And I learned a lot about life in general there, and in crisis situations in my life. I've actually helped save a couple people and have had the ability to deal with crisis as it goes down very well. So certainly taken a lot of lessons from that time. But the one I want to focus on today was there's a particular order of events you're taught when something happens, when someone's drowning. First, you assess the situation, you call for help, you direct anybody else who is available to help with specific jobs. And then you try to rescue the drowning victim. And even though your instincts say, jump in and help them, too often that causes two drowning victims. So the first things you do is try to get them a flotation vise. You try to pull them in with a rope or something, a hook. And the last ditch effort is for you to go in the water with them. And of course, if they physically can't help themselves or they're panicking so hard that they won't help themselves, there's no choice. You go in. Jan told us a story in our training so that we would understand the severity of making that choice. That she was a lifeguard when she was young at a lake, and an older, very large gentleman who was also drunk started to drown. And she swam out to help him, her only option. And he tried to drag her under. And after many attempts to try to get him in a cross-chest carry and get him back to shore, she knew that she was going to die if she tried to save this man. He was going to pull her under and they were both going to drown. And she ended up clocking him with an elbow and knocking him out and dragging him to shore, and he lived. That story stuck with me. So we did our few weeks of training, and then it was test day. And there were little stations set up at the pool in different sections. You had to swim underwater for some amount of time. You had to prove you could side cross chest carry, side swim. I don't remember what the test was. It was 100 years ago. But because of the way I was scheduled, my last test was the active victim. And that was Richard Perot. And he was having a grand old time being a very active victim. And you had to go up, swim under him, around from the back, get him in a cross-chest carry, and get him to the side of the deep end. Now, the deep end was a small section of the plus, but when he's batting his arms around and trying to get away from you and take you down, so you would have to do the break away from him, swim under him, go behind him, flip him around, get him in the cross-chest, and get him to the side of the pool. I was exhausted from all the rest of the test. And I had done maybe 4 or 5 tries on him already, and I'd get him spun around, and then he'd flip around on me and drag me under again. And I was hanging on the side of the pool, gasping for air. And I remember thinking, I can't do this. I'm going to fail this test. And I looked over at Richard, treading water in the middle of the pool, and he just said, try one more time. And he winked. And I was like, so he cut me a little bit of slack on that last save and let me get through. He could have fought me back under the water again, but he knew I was just running out of steam. And thank you, Richard, for that. But in life, it has been a very hard lesson for me to learn over and over again. That when you're trying to help someone and they are pulling you down and pulling you under, sometimes you don't have a choice but to push off and swim away. I've had to do that a few times. And those were the hardest decisions I ever had to make, because I had to live with them. I had to live with the consequences of pushing off and swimming away and choosing to not try to help one more time. But the only reason that I get to live with that is because I chose to live. So I keep reminding myself of Jan Pingle's words that it's a hard choice, but it's your choice to make. So honestly, my hope is today that no one else has to go through that. But I think unfortunately in life, we're faced with that a little too often. So I'll leave you with this. Today, I hope on this Labor Day weekend that you're all celebrating in wonderful ways with a lot of water safety involved. Make sure that you have a plan. Make sure that you have all of your flotation devices available. Make sure that you don't drink and boat, just like you don't drink and drive. And always swim where there's a lifeguard available if you can. And if a lifeguard ever blows a long, loud blast and tells you to clear the pool, please don't just take a deep breath and go sit on the bottom pretending like you can't hear it, because it's not funny. It wasn't funny in 1987, Tommy, and it's not funny now. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. I wonder what we'll talk about then.